We just got the biggest FNAF movie update yet, including a synopsis of the entire FNAF movie and descriptions of all the characters. Make sure to like and follow to stay in the loop of all the FNAF news and lore. It says this movie is intended to be scary, but not only with jump scares. In the backstory of creating the film, it says Tammy's ambition was to create a film that would be both terrifying and entertaining. With our character Mike, the haunting of his past goes deeper than just jump scares, as he struggles with guilt and shame that he can't reconcile. If you saw my previous video, you know they're referring to Mike's younger brother being kidnapped. I can only imagine what that does to someone. We didn't fully know what the story was until now. In the synopsis it reads, "Can you survive 5 nights? The terrifying horror game phenomenon becomes a blood-chilling cinematic event as Blumhouse brings Five Nights at Freddy's to the big screen." The film follows Mike, played by Josh Hutcherson, is a troubled young man caring for his 10-year-old sister Abby, and hunted by unsolved disappearance of his younger brother more than a decade before. So basically we know the movie will include being at Freddy's for 5 nights. There are also family issues that are going to play a big part. Mike is mainly working at Freddy's so he can keep custody of his sister. In the film, Mike's Aunt Jane is played by Mary Stewart. We were unsure who she was playing until this point, with the description of her character only saying unnamed female villain. This will probably play into the custody battle issue where she's trying to take Abby away from Mike. Also, one of the FNAF movie creators said, even though this movie only really covers the first game, it was important for me to understand as much as possible about what makes this world tick. I think that's a really interesting statement that this movie only covers the first game, when Vanessa was nowhere to be found in the original games. I think the main story will be the first game, but I think they're setting up elements for future movies that will have different transitions for certain events or characters. Like they might start combining games, so we might get Vanny in the second or third movie. We also get a detailed description listed of all the characters and how they intertwine with each other. Mike, played by Josh Hutcherson, is an unemployed security guard with a checkered past who has stepped up to become the guardian of his younger sister. Mike has a lot on his plate, and that's before he accepts an overnight watchman gig at a shuttered Freddy Fazbear pizzeria, where the animatronic stage performers have a strange habit of moving around at night. He's become the de facto parent of his younger sister Abby, but is on the cusp of losing her because of his demons are preventing him from being able to hold a steady job. If you saw my previous video, we already knew Mike's brother was kidnapped. This does give him motive for going to the Pizzaplex to find out what happened to his lost brother. Next, we have Vanessa Shelley, who's a local police officer. The beat has long included the direct family pizza restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's. Initially, Vanessa is skeptical of new hire Mike, who has a penchant for falling asleep on the job. But as she learns more about him, she begins to sympathize with him, providing him with some crucial history on Freddy's, as well as becoming an ally when Mike claims the rusty animatronics are acting in seemingly impossible ways. What interests me is the actor playing her says, Vanessa in many ways was the most complicated character to inhabit. She's a cop with a hidden agenda. This probably implies how in the games she's working with Afton. I'm guessing this will be one of the twists at the end of the movie and set up for a sequel. Next, we have Abby. It says 10-year-old Abby is Mike's little sister, but his new role as her guardian has complicated their relationship. Because of this uneasy realignment, Abby has retreated inwards, spending the bulk of her time churning out page after page, depicting a seemingly mythical realm known only to her. But after Mike accepts his new job, he begins to notice a strange overlap between the unusual happenings at Freddy's and his sister's drawings. The two must overcome their differences and work together to get to the bottom of why the pizzeria animatronics have taken on a life of their own. Looks like Abby will be kind of the key or medium, and the realization to Mike that these are more than just animatronics. Next, we have Jane, played by Mary Stuart Masterson. She plays Mike and Abby's aunt. Jane has become a fixture in the siblings' lives since the two began living on their own. Meddlesome and sharp-elbowed, Jane disapproves of Mike's attempt at raising Abby, so much so that she's begun to register formal complaints with the other caregivers in Abby's orbit, though Jane insists she's agitating for no other reason than her loving concern for Abby. She may have ulterior motives. I'm wondering what these ulterior motives could be. Maybe she doesn't want them finding out something relating to their parents not being around anymore. Finally, we have Steve Raglan, played by Matthew Lillard, a smug career counselor charged with helping Mike find a job. Steve Raglan has zero sympathy for the burden of the unemployed. Played by horror legend Matthew Lillard, Steve seems to take a preserved her pleasure in forcing a desperate man like Mike. It's Steve who suggests the night guard job at Freddy's to Mike, and who then bides his time like a spider until Mike reluctantly agrees to take it. I guess they're trying to hide his identity for the people that aren't familiar with the games, but it seems like he wants him there to interact with the animatronics, maybe as a test like in the FNAF 4 game. I said in my previous video that Steve is probably the one who kidnapped Mike's brother, so maybe now he's trying to take the whole family out to stop him from being found out. It's crazy this game series started off with the creator Scott almost giving up on the game development, now having a movie that will probably spawn into a trilogy. I wonder if the movie will have new lore elements or if it's just a standalone. What do you all think of all this FNAF news? Check out my other FNAF videos if you want to see more lore that you might have missed. I'll see you guys in the next video.